Hello, hi, welcome back to Adventures in Music with me, Jim, where we listen to, talk about, and do all sorts of things music-y. We've got to that time of year. It is December, and it's time to start reflecting on what we've been listening to over the year, what we've heard, albums that have been, songs that have been, bands that you've discovered, videos that I've made, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to do a series of my favourite parts of the year. But I'm going to start off with what most people leave to the very last minute. And I'm going to start off with it. It's the album of the year. And this has got to be albums that have been released this year and that have made it to my top 10. Now, the first bit of it I think is probably a little bit fluid. I'm going to put it in an order, but on any day these might move around a little bit. When we get to the sort of the nub of it, the sort of top 5, maybe top 3, certainly, I think they're going to be fairly sort of set in stone. But further down the list, things might move around depending on the day. So I'm going to start off with one that you probably not aware of, but you might have seen. I did a review of this on the channel. I listened to it. It's a band called Azur, and it's this. So it's a CD. The band is from Brighton in the UK, and this is the album called Fym, Fym, and it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's symphonic progressive rock. The band write all their songs, all their material across all their albums. So this is the only one I know, but all of their stuff is set in this fantasy world. So it's a little bit sort of Tolkien-esque, and it's stories about all the characters there, their lives, what they get up to, and how they live their lives, basically. And it's brilliant. It's wonderful, and it's so. It couldn't get much more of a concept than that, could you? So it is proper storytelling set across a number of albums. I think you can probably listen to an album independently from the others. So they're all about different characters and what their stories are. But this is the only one I've heard, and I heard it this year as a result of the channel, and it's good enough to have made it. I'm going to say it's number 10 on my list for this year. So the band is Azur, the album Fym. Number 9. So going downwards, aren't we? This came out almost a year ago. This is Caligula's Horse, the band from Australia. This is their band. This is their album Charcoal Grace. Came out in January. I think it's their 6th studio album. They've been on Inside Out, I think, pretty much the whole time. But I love this band. I really do. Lots of similarities in places to Haken, but not enough to diminish their own individuality, because they really are. They're beautiful vocals, falsetto in places, and face-melting riffs, and it's polished. It's a really smooth, polished, clean sounding album. It's progressive metal, but it's not harsh in any way, shape, or form at all. It's absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend this. In another year, this could have been higher, but there's a lot of other albums we've got to listen to, or that we've listened to, that made it further up the list. So number 9 is Caligula's Horse with Charcoal Grace. Number 8. I only came across this recently, although it's been out for a little while. This is Weather Systems. The album is called Ocean Without Shore. We listened to this on the channel 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago. So this is Daniel Kavanagh's new band, I guess, new project after the abolition, the falling apart of Anathema. It's great. It's really great. It's the problem that I find with it a little bit on sort of repeat listening is that maybe it's a little bit too close to Anathema. It's carrying a lot of that Anathema baggage with it, so it can never really stand apart as its own thing. But it is a wonderful record, and it's certainly good enough to be in my top 10. It's lovely. It's wonderful, and if you like Anathema, and I'm sure you do, and you weren't aware of this, then do go and check it out, because this is kind of like the next Anathema record. Almost, it's not the rest of the band there. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Ocean Without a Shore from Weather Systems. It's my number 8. Number 7. So this surprised me that this is far down, or farish down. This is Power Nerd from Devin Townsend. I think in almost every other year when I've been listening to a new Devin Townsend record, it's kind of made it to number 1. But this year it's kind of not. It's great. We haven't listened to this on the channel. We've listened to the singles, but I've not actually sat down and listened to this album with you on the channel. It's great. It's all right. It's very not throwaway. That's kind of a little bit unfair, but it's just not special enough to elevate it to the sort of higher echelons of Devin's catalogue. And I think, to be fair, there has been better records, certainly from my point of view, been out this year. So yeah, this is at the minute is number 7. I mean, tomorrow, if I'm in the mood for it, it might sort of jump up to number 5 or number 4. But I don't think it's going to get anywhere near the top. But it's still a great record. It's full of really heavy riffs. It's full of heavy Devi. It's full of inventiveness and interest and excitement and short, succinct rock songs. And he does it well. You know it. So yeah, recommended. You, if you're a Devi fan, you know it anyway. So it's Power Nerd, Devin Townsend. What was that? Number 7. Number 6. My beloved Von Hertzen brothers. This is their album In Murmuration. It came out not too long ago, October, I believe. I saw them live at the beginning of the week. Absolutely wonderful. They played a lot of this record. We played this record on the channel 3 or 4 weeks ago. So actually not when it came out, but a little bit later. It's wonderful. And I've listened to it over and over and over and over again, probably because I wanted to get in the mood for the show and stuff like that. But it's such a good album. It works on so many levels. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea. And probably a lot of people won't listen to it because they don't know them or don't know of them or haven't heard of them. So if that is the case and you don't know anything about this band, I implore you to listen to Von Hertzen Brothers. They're a Finnish rock band. They dabble in progressive. They dabble in classic rock sounds. They do a lot of indie stuff. It's kind of a smorgasbord. Although wrong country, I know they're Swedish, but a smorgasbord of different styles and genres that they tap into and make it their own. They're amazingly good harmonies. They're beautiful songsmithery. The songs are written really well. They're played immaculately. They've got a great band with them now, and they do some good stuff. So it's fairly close to mainstream in places, but oh my god, do they do it well. They do it so well. Have a listen. Von Hertzen Brothers in Murmuration. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It brings us to number 5 halfway through. This is David Gilmour, his album Luck and Strange. It's beautiful. It's immediately recognisable as David Gilmour. Couldn't be anybody else. There is something about the way he plucks and plays and massages the strings that if anybody else did it, it just wouldn't sound the same. And I don't know what it is he does, how he does it. There must be something about the calluses on his fingers are sort of burnt in a certain way that the way they touch the strings is completely unique to him. But it's a wonderful album. Is it doing anything new? Not really. Is it doing anything sort of completely innovative? Not at all. But it's like a beautiful, cozy, comfy, warm I don't know, sort of comfort blanket, if you will. And it's, you know what you're going to get. You're not going to be disappointed. And the guitar, his voice, the band with him, the songwriting, it's all what you'd expect. There's no big, long epics on here, but it's not Pink Floyd. It's David Gilmour. And and it's a worthy addition to my collection. Loved it, absolutely loved it. It comes in at number 5. So this album now coming at number 4 has divided people. We listened to this last week. This is Opeth's brand new record. What's it called? The Last Will and Testament. Of course it is. That's exactly what it is. It is The Last Will and Testament. It's, again, a record that divides people because of the vocals. We have the harsh vocals on here, but not so much that they are everywhere, all over every single track. Of course not. They are a voice of a character within the story. It is one of the proggiest stories or albums you can imagine. The whole album is split up as paragraphs within the Last Will and Testament of this patriarch who's died, left his fortune, and this is the reading of his will. And there's twists, turns, plot twists along the way, characters introduced, other ones sort of, oh no, what's going on? And all that good stuff. You've got Jon Anderson in here playing his flute, dancing around on one foot, doing the narration. There's orchestration on here, I believe, from Dave Stewart, from the Canterbury scene. But I think it might be that Scott said that on his channel the other day. I can't remember. But anyway, that's my belief. Anyway, this has come in at number 4, basically because it's so new to me. It's really fresh. It's really proggy. I love Michael Ackerfeld's voice. I love Opeth. I love the sound that they do. And I think it's a great sounding record. A combination of their different eras, but making maybe a new one. And I'm excited to see where they go next. We're getting to the end now, top 3. Now, coming in at number 3 is this from Big Train. The album is The Likes of Us. It's the first studio release of theirs since signing to Inside Out Music. It's also the first album to feature Alberto on vocals following the death of David Longdon several years ago. But it's a big moment for this band. So they could have, I guess, buckled under, sort of collapsed in on themselves following the death of David Longdon. Or they could have, I guess, risen to the challenge and risen up with integrity and completeness of having a new singer and a new identity. And that's the route they took. And I'm so glad they did, because while it is respectful to the sound of Big Train, it doesn't try to ape the old band. And having seen them live, Alberto owns the stage. He's part of the band. He feels as if he's kind of been there forever. And it's a really wonderful record. I mean, most people already know this band, Big Train. But I have to say, I'm so impressed with them. Having seen them live, I cannot think of another band I've seen that play that well as a live outfit. They are incomparable. They really are. And the studio albums, although I don't know all of them as yet, I'm slowly working my way through them, are equally wonderful. They are more along the lines of like symphonic progressive rock, but they're not soft. Although some of the music may not suddenly come across to you as being sort of harsh or aggressive, they're not dealing with soft subjects. They're dealing with sort of some quite dark things in places, talking about history, some of the moments that have been in the history of the world, things that are interesting, engineering feats, and it's just wonderful epic music dealing with epic subjects. And their new album, although not new now, but it is just wonderful. Love it, absolutely love it. So it's Big Train, The Likes of Us, which brings us to our top 2. And they are at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. And coming in at number 2 is, this is so close. This could have been number 1, but it's going to be number 2. It's Blood Incantation. Now, this is an extraordinary discovery, this band, for me. Brutal, brutal death metal mixed with Pink Floyd and Tangerine Dream and Vangelis. It just shouldn't work. It really shouldn't work. On paper, it sounds like a car crash. On your headphones, it sounds nothing like a car crash. It just sounds wonderful. There's two very long tracks, one on each side. You have Stargate on side one and The Message on side two, both well over 20 minutes. It's absolutely fabulous. The vocal style might put some people off. Just try, if you can, to get past that. I know it's difficult, but if you can, this album brings some of the most I'm trying to think of the right word. Innovative, certainly. Inventive, interesting, and creative music that I've heard in a long, long time. Not just this year. This is absolutely, truly fabulous. And I recommend it with all of my heart. Blood Incantation is the band. The album is called Absolute Elsewhere. I don't think I even said that, did I? That's the album, Absolute Elsewhere. It's fantastic. So go get it. Which brings us to my number one album of the whole year. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's this wonderful, 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 wonderful record. I cannot believe, nor can anybody else, to be honest, but Jon Anderson and the Band Geeks have produced this lost Yes record. Close your eyes. You're in 1978 listening to Yes, and it's just it's incredible, absolutely incredible. How they achieved what they did is beyond comprehension almost. I guess Band Geeks themselves are really, really accomplished musicians, and they do a lot of covers of a lot of bands. That's their thing. They do a lot of covers, and they are very learned. They studied Yes to the nth degree, and they are also songwriters in their own right. They are musicians in other bands, and as a result of that, they are able to take that Yes DNA, as it were, and shuffle it up and write new tunes that come out Yes-ish. And then they can manage to get Jon Anderson, or Jon Anderson managed to get them. They combine together to make this new album. This double album of 2, 4, 6, 9 tracks spread across 2 records. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I say the word wonderful so many times, but it is truly, truly, true. It is kind of the greatest Yes album since Going for the One, and there's Yes isn't on it. You know, it's just brilliant, and I don't think there's many people now who have not heard this who would like to hear it. But if you haven't, do yourself a favour. This has come in as my number one. So there we go. That's my top 10 albums of the year for 2024. Let me know what you think. Let me know what yours are. If you disagree, if you strongly agree, write it down below in the comments, because when I get a chance, I'll try to reply and have a chat with you. But in the meantime, I'll see you on the next video, whenever and whatever that is. Until then, this is Jim, over and out.